Tonight, there's an ongoing debate over technology. A powerful tool can give police investigators the power to bring justice quicker.
Yeah, but in some cases, it can mistakenly cost someone their freedom. So how do police agencies navigate that delicate line? Tonight, we investigate. Every day, technology takes a new step forward. And every day, there's a balance.
Is this technology, if we are deciding to use it,
to make sure those steps avoid trespassing on civil rights.
Being used in a way as it was intended, or are there unintended consequences?
A critical question when technology is a tool of the government. One of the biggest government agencies in Wisconsin,
FPC 212033, communication from the Milwaukee Police Department,
just revealed its plan to take that step when it acquires facial recognition software. Facial recognition, or FRT for short, is a technology that takes an image like a single frame from surveillance video, and then it compares that image to a database of known individuals to see if it can help identify the person in the video. The technology is not new, but it is controversial.
First degree. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back. I'm not gonna...
One example is the 2020 arrest of Robert Williams in Michigan.
No.
We're the police. Don't tell us to settle down. This isn't a game.
Detroit detectives investigating a retail theft used facial recognition on surveillance video. The software identified Williams as a possible match. The problem, according to the lawsuit Williams later filed, detectives relied entirely on facial recognition, writing, the lead detective did not perform even a rudimentary investigation into Mr. Williams' whereabouts. Had he done so, he would have learned Mr. Williams was driving home from work during the event in question and could not have been the culprit. Williams spent 30 hours in a jail cell, having been arrested in front of his young daughters for a crime he did not commit.
Any wrongful arrest is profoundly harmful to that individual, their family. Even a short, stint in jail can have long-lasting consequences.
ACLU Wisconsin Advocacy Director Amanda McKay.
Even if something is later dismissed, that individual person and all the people that are connected to them that saw that profound harm.
Some facial recognition software has come under fire for scraping images for its algorithm from the internet, social media, and state ID databases. In its presentation last month, Milwaukee police officials told the Fire and Police Commission Biometrica, the software vendor it plans to use, will only have access to booking photos already in the department's possession. That's more than 2.5 million records.
2.5 million is a lot. Is that who currently owns that data and how is it housed? Does it include people who were maybe arrested and booked and then never charged, or their case was dismissed? We have no idea.
Adding to the scrutiny, an academic study on facial recognition from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Its authors write, with mugshot images, the highest false positives are in American Indians, with elevated rates in African American and Asian populations. Other studies point to police leadership, training, and policies surrounding the software.
It's critical in a system like this because it's running off a computer algorithm. It doesn't have the human perception of seeing who is who.
It's why Delafield Police Chief Landon Nyron implemented a strict policy for his department's facial recognition usage. It limits who can use the software, and even those officers have specific training and are subject to oversight and audits. And another critical rule: they're not going to make an arrest just based off of a match from facial recognition.
No, absolutely not. It's very low level information that just gives them a direction to investigate. They're not going to run with anything without clarifying or gathering additional information.
The model could be a blueprint for the policy Milwaukee police are still developing.
I want to make very clear, facial recognition on its own is never enough. It requires human analysis and additional investigation. And we recognize the very delicate balance between advancements in technology and ensuring we as a department do not violate the rights of all of those in this diverse community of interest that we serve.
And any misstep in navigating that balance could create a victim while searching for a suspect.
Now, Milwaukee police are acquiring this technology on their own, but they have had access to facial recognition for some time, Derek.
Yeah, for a couple of years now, they've essentially been outsourcing some of their cases to neighboring departments like Wauwatosa Police, who already have the software. As a part of its presentation, Milwaukee police leadership highlighted 2 cases, a deadly shooting and a sexual assault case where facial recognition was part of the investigation and helped lead to arrest. It's the sexual assault case. In that case, police used the facial rec results and police stress this, follow-up investigation to help them get an arrest and conviction. That attacker is now in prison right now. Milwaukee police concede, yes, they can make these cases without facial recognition, but they say it definitely helps speed up the process in investigating, especially in violent crimes. In terms of that sexual assault case, from the time it happened to the time they made the arrest, that took just 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now on the 12 News mobile app, our extended conversation with the ACLU in Wisconsin and the letter the group sent to the Common Council about facial recognition. A very important story here by Derek Rose. The 2 moves the ACLU wants the council to make in the police department's efforts to acquire facial recognition software.